Just the other day, Donald Trump signed an executive order that, well, normally you're supposed to have to get Congress's approval for this. Congress is majority MAGA, which means they just kind of defer to Trump on any issue. More or less meaning that Donald Trump has unilaterally renamed the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Apparently we are now going to be a country not focused on defense, but instead, we're going to be focused on war. That's going to be our focus as a country, apparently. That is what Trump supporters voted for, supposedly, despite, years of claiming Hillary Clinton couldn't be elected because she was a war hawk who would get us into a massive nuclear conflict with Russia if we elected her. Absolute nonsense, looking back on it. She wouldn't have done that, and, Trump himself is currently looking to get us involved in tons of conflict. To be fair, my assumption when he said he was going to rename the Department of Defense to the Department of War was not that he was going to do what he was planning to do, though. I thought he was going to try and start a war with another country, maybe Canada or Greenland. Instead, he's threatening war with the city of Chicago. No, I am not joking. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not clickbaiting. Donald Trump has openly threatened war against the American city of Chicago, whose response is, "We will fight back." I am not one to play into the narratives about civil war in America, but the idea that the president would order a military strike on an American city simply because of their political affiliation might just be what does it. That might be what does it. That might be what causes a legitimate American civil war in the year 2025. Launching a military strike on a city will do it. In fact, if you think I'm being exaggeratory, let's go ahead and dip into this news story. Wait till you see what Trump posted, what he plans to do. If you believe the AI images that he's been generating and posting on his social media, which seem to show him bombing Chicago. He's been posting AI-generated images of him, as a war general, presiding over a mass bombing of the city of Chicago. That has been his Twitter activity as of today. I am not exaggerating. This is not a joke. If this interests you, if you're hyped for this video, go ahead and leave a like and a comment to support it if you like. If we can hit 1,000 likes and 500 comments in 24 hours, I'd really appreciate it. It would help to beat the algorithm and its favor towards right-wing content. Without any further ado, let's get into this fucking insane story. Folks, I hope you're armed, because if you're a Chicagoan or you live in any other liberal city, it's very possible that Trump might start to threaten to bomb your city next. Let's watch.
Right now by Democratic Representative Mike Quigley. He serves on the House Appropriations and Intelligence Committees. Congressman, thank you so much for being here with us. You also live there in the Chicago area, in this state of Illinois, and the events we're
based on the way she said Chicago, I think she might be from Chicago.
Seeing in Chicago today are really interesting because this event typically draws in very large crowds. And you were among those today. A lot of people were quite fearful not coming out. How would you say the president's immigration threats are impacting people there in that area?
Yeah, you're right. I just finished walking the Mexican.
Trump literally, there's a big difference between what Trump's been doing and what he just did. Trump's threatened many times to send the National Guard to establish peace in cities. Since he got into office, he's done this. He did it to D.C., he's been threatening to do it to Chicago. Today marks the day that he's escalated this to, not only are we renaming the Department of Defense the Department of War, but I plan to go to war with Chicago. Literally, here's an AI-generated image of me bombing the city. Meanwhile, it's all over the fact that Chicago is filled with protests against his leadership. He's just threatening to murder Americans through bombings that he doesn't like. Wait till you see the AI-generated images he's posting. I'm sure we're going to see them in just a moment. It's literally Trump, as a general, watching and smiling with sunglasses on as Chicago gets bombed. I'm not joking. Let's watch.
Independence Day parade with my friend Chuy Garcia in Chicago's Pilsen neighborhood. And you would have to describe it as a neighborhood on edge. But at the same time, reduced crowds, but very much a resilient, proud community that wants to take a stand here. I mean, this was much more than a parade. It was a sense of unity at a difficult time. How it's affecting people, I think we need Exhibit A, our domestic violence court. Women are afraid to show up to get orders of protection. As a result, they're less safe. Schools are starting to talk about teaching remotely again because the parents and the kids are afraid to show up. This isn't a positive impact on anyone. It really puts a city at a disadvantage.
It is kind of remarkable to think about schools considering going remote again. It's like going back.
The president is threatening to bomb the city. Like what like the city's in borderline, like a state of lockdown. What else can you do when the federal the leader of the federal government threatens to bomb your city and its citizens in a mass military invasion and occupation? Like when the president announced that they're going to violently take your city, shoot and bomb your civilians, and they're coming to shoot, kill, or arrest you. Like, that's what Trump's threatening. And, like, yeah, it makes sense the city is, like, on high alert right now. Like, they're talking about sending kids home and not bringing them into school because apparently the president might send a bunch of American military to go bomb the schools. We don't know. That's not what he's going to do. He posted an image of himself doing it, so it seems like he's serious.
In time to COVID times almost.
Yeah, and obviously it has a very detrimental impact on parents, on the kids, their capacities to learn, the stress on schools. They're trying to teach everyone.
All right. I've been really thinking to myself the last day or two, how bad is this going to get? Like, surely at some point this has got to stop, right? Like, surely it doesn't get so bad that America is actually like Great Depression era again, right? That can't happen. Like, someone's going to stop Trump before then, right? Like, surely Trump couldn't, like, bring slavery back, right? Like, someone would stop him before that, right? Surely Trump couldn't do, and I go down the list of things, such as, like, bombing an American city. Surely he won't actually do these things. He'll threaten it, he'll say he'll do it, he'll get people scared, but surely he won't actually do it. And I realized that I was once again thinking exactly as I did in 2016, 17, and 18. Surely Trump won't be that bad. And remember how much the left said Trump would be bad when he got elected. Remember how much the left was saying Trump is going to do this, he's going to do this, it's going to be catastrophic. And now everyone laughed it off, hand waved it away, and said, let's be realistic. There's checks and balances in our government. The consequences of a Trump presidency can't be that bad. And then we had Trump's first term. We had the mass deaths caused by COVID that Trump caused. Like, Trump has already killed, through his actions, millions of Americans before in his first term, okay? It's not, like that's where the floor is as far as, like, that's where the ceiling already is. Like, as far as, does he make this term as bad as the last one? If he doesn't kill millions of Americans again, this term won't be as bad as his last one. But we all expect this term to be worse, and yet even the most conservative estimations argue that Trump can't really be that bad. Surely there won't be a civil war. Surely Trump won't dissolve the Constitution, etc., etc., etc. We all said the same shit the first time around, that Trump won't go that far. It won't be that bad. And it was so much worse than that bad, it turns out. Now we're all logicking ourselves into thinking it can't be that bad. If the same thing happens again, it's going to be worse than we're afraid it's going to get. Trump's second term, if we follow the pattern of what happened last time, what we are afraid of happening now is an underestimation of where things will likely end up, assuming the pattern continues. Like, the idea that Trump might actually bomb Chicago, not that crazy when you consider that it was just as crazy to assume that Trump would kill millions of Americans through his policy when a pandemic came through America at the same time in his last term. That's what scares me, is the fact that, like, logically speaking, if we're learning from our mistakes, we should expect Trump to be serious here, fully 100% serious, because when we didn't take him serious in the past, we wished that we had. Every time.
On an equal basis, it's very difficult to do and accomplish at this point in time. You know, and when I watch this and I see those raids, what the what the American president is doing is, in an economy that is dramatically short of workers, he's going after the 11 million undocumented who provide a critical addition to that economy.
No. Remember, 11 million is not a scary enough number. So Trump and JD Vance's number is 22 million, exactly double. I'm not joking, by the way. The real statistics on the amount of illegal immigrants in America is 11 million, is the official number. Trump and Vance will not back down off of 22 million, though, which I think we all know they just doubled the number, because 11 million times 2 is 22 million, because the number wasn't large enough. It wasn't scary enough. So they just doubled it and refused to back down on having doubled it.
Economy. When we have press conferences about a comprehensive immigration reform, the hospitality industry, manufacturing, ag, they're all there talking about how vital that community is to our economy, and why we must pass comprehensive immigration reform.
The governor there in Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, says he's going to fight Trump in court if the National Guard is deployed there. He also says, though, at this moment, he's not been notified of any actions.
You think there's a reason why Trump is specifically targeting a city with a large city with a black population, or a large black population? Yeah, absolutely. Black people are the only demographic that didn't see a significant shift towards Trump this election. Of all the demographics, black people were like, nah, when it came to Trump. There was like a 1%, 2% move over to Trump's side for black Americans voting. It was like barely a nudge. They were the one group that came out and voted blue reliably, without fail, at about the rate you would expect. And I think that fact is not lost on Trump, that Trump has failed to win over black America. And I do think that as far as like what groups he plans to attack and try and like prevent from having political power, I do think black Americans are about to become his biggest target. Because I think he knows that that's the demographic he just can't win over. He's too racist. Black people in general are just too easy to scare with racism. You know, like if you sound like a racist old white man, you're gonna disillusion a lot of black folks in America, and for good reason. And Trump just can't win them over. I don't think it's a coincidence.
By the White House. I'm curious, what do you know as of today, 4:06 here on the East Coast? What is the latest on the status of all of this?
If the president was serious about actually making communities safer, he would communicate. So I haven't heard anything. Our governor is doing the best he can. He hasn't. There's no effort at communication. And as a result, we're seeing what we're seeing. And the bottom line is, we spent more money in Los Angeles putting the National Guard there than it cost to hire 2,000 Chicago police officers. And instead, he cut $820 million in anti-violence programs. We're going in the opposite direction. If he was serious about fighting crime, he would work with us.
The president also reposted on Truth Social earlier today. It was this meme.
Remember, all of Trump's nonsense right now is based on the completely, like, objectively false claim that crime is rising. And he's banking on the fact that right now Americans, on most issues, their belief on where America is on any given issue is often polar opposite of the reality on a number of issues. A really good example of this is crime, where as crime goes down, Americans' perception of being in danger goes up. Don't know why, probably because of right-wing propaganda, but each year crime has been dropping, and each year people's fear of crime and perception that crime is up has been rising. In the same way, during Biden's presidency, when you look at people's confidence in the economy and their belief in the economy's health, and you correlate it with GDP growth and every other single stat you could measure the America's economic profitability off of, or like its recovery off of, like unemployment, everything, like wages, everything was rising. And yet with every tick upwards for economic health under Biden, there was like 5 ticks down in people's approval of the economy. This is not the only issue. Crime, the economy, many more. I think a really good example as well is trans people. Americans' perception, like the percentage of the population that is trans, has went up for a while, but has kind of flatlined in the recent decade. And yet people's perception on what percentage of people are trans or identify as trans has continued to rise year by year, despite there being no actual rise in the amount of trans people. It's purely perception, purely vibes that people are getting that there's more trans people now. Mostly, and all these issues, by the way, you can tie directly to the fact that the right has a vested interest in convincing Americans that the truth is not the case. And so we get this bizarre trend where as problems get to be less of a problem, Americans get more concerned about the problem. And then, of course, if you're a political party, if you want to win, you have to pretend like you care about the non-problem, or pretend like you don't care about the real problem. And that's a depressingly common situation in American politics in the last decade or two.
That we talked about just a few minutes ago. And when you look
There
at
it
it, it
is.
says Chicago.
That is what Trump posted. Literally, Trump posted him doing an Apocalypse Now, Vietnam War style, scorched earth, napalm bombing campaign in Chicago. Holy fucking shit, bro. Jesus Christ. The president posted this.
Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department
Once again, AI is demonic. Reason number 800 billion.
of War, all caps. How do you read that?
Yeah, look, this is a scary time for those who haven't paid attention.
Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. I love how he's tweeting like AAVE, by the way, like Twitter speak. That Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. You know, Trump's now, like, I love how Trump's completely changed the way he tweets now as well because of Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom used to, like, has been, like, dunking on, like, the Trump way of tweeting, the all caps and the like, ridiculous grammar. Now Trump is tweeting like your average Twitter shitposter. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Really? That is not how Trump talks, bro. Clearly, this is like a campaign worker or whatever, but it's still Trump's platform. You know, this is a public statement, an official public statement from Donald Trump.
Yeah, look, this is a scary time. For those who haven't paid attention, it's time to watch what this president is doing. It's instructive in history.
Imagine you're like a Chicagoan who hasn't been paying attention to politics and you assume that like people who are talking about the political stuff are just crazy and insane. And then you find out the news that the president might be deploying a full-scale invasion on your city because your city's population is too black and too woke. Like, at that point, do you just get hit with like the solid, like, cold reality of, oh, all that I've been hearing wasn't just clickbait and hysteria? Like, I have to stay home because the president might invade my city with the military. My house might get bombed. What? Like, I'm wondering how many people who were like, I'm not into politics, are now like, what do you mean he's going to bomb my city? What do you mean he might invade the city? Like at that point, you can't ignore it anymore. It's like, what do you mean I can't go to work or send my kids to school because Trump might bomb Chicago? Yeah, it's a fun moment to be someone involved in politics, to watch the apolitical folks have to realize, oh wait, what do you mean I can't opt out of politics? I thought that's how it worked.
To remember that often tyrants are elected democratically at first, right? Putin, Viktor Orban, just to name two. And then they use the very aspects of democracy to bring it down. Here we're seeing the court system, the National Guard, the Justice Department, and so much more. So this is a president edging more and more toward authoritarianism, being a tyrant. You're talking about sending the troops.
You heard it, guys. CNN says Donald Trump is edging us
Against the public. The former general of the Illinois National Guard, General Hayes, said this could create a permanent stain on the image of the military in our country, and it's very dangerous. He's absolutely right, as is our governor, and this is a time to stand up against this.
Are you comparing the president to Putin?
Yes.
I'm saying the president is...
Yes, he is like Putin. He's literally a dictator. He is a piece of shit. Fuck him. No, please stop being afraid of being sued. Just fucking own it, dude. Please, I need reporters to be like, you know what? I'm going to report the news. I'm going to say what I believe and what I know to be true, whether Trump sues me or not. You know what? Trump, sue me. Sue me. Do it. I honestly think that's why South Park hasn't gotten sued, is they dared him to sue him. They drew a bunch of attention. We're like, if you sue us, you're doing exactly what we want. We want you to sue us publicly and to tank your reputation by being anti-free speech, for suing us for making jokes. Do it. We dare you. And Trump didn't sue South Park, despite... Had they done it, but not made multiple references to Trump's penchant for suing and baiting him into suing, he would have sued. But Trump is at least smart enough to know that they want him to sue them, and that it would be a Streisand effect situation. I think more journalists should behave this way. I think they should start daring Trump to sue them, and if they do, they're journalists. Report on it vigorously and make sure every American knows that Trump is on a journalist lawsuit spree. Bait him out. Dare him to sue you. Frankly, he might not do it just because he thinks you want him to. He might not do it if he thinks you've got the money to defend yourself and aren't afraid of the lawsuit. The point of his lawsuits, they're slap suits. They're meant to be nonsense lawsuits with no chance of winning that financially and emotionally and energy-wise drain the plaintiff and force them into a situation where, defendant, where it forces them into a situation where they have to defend against a bogus lawsuit that has no chance of winning, because if they don't defend against it, then they lose by default. So it's always meant to be nonsense, so just dare him to sue. If he thinks you've got the money and time to defend, he won't do it because he knows it won't affect you the way he wants it to.
More fond of Putin than he is of democratically elected other presidents. He's never criticized him. He's acting in a manner that Putin would, which isn't often to flaunt the law, but to use it in a way to be destructive of democratic practices. In that way, he's acting like Putin.
Mm. And you mentioned the military. Are you concerned that there would be a negative impact on how people relate to the military because of how they're being used?
Yeah, look, when you're talking about armored vehicles in the city of Chicago, our business leaders came out last week. Our law enforcement came out last week and said this is a bad idea. It's not effective, and it would harm the image of Chicago. It would harm the image of our military and absolutely have no impact on crime. You're not going to keep the military there as a long-term presence. And again, if you were really serious about this, there are ways to combat crime. The trends are in a positive way, but in no way does the city of Chicago think that we've solved these problems. We're willing to work with any administration in lawful means, this isn't one of them, to complete those operations.
And what do you think is the answer?
Hey guys, I think Donald Trump might be fucking Satan. He's totally fucking Satan, dude. Anyway. Yeah, this story is kind of fucking insane. It's very possible that in the coming days, I will be giving an update on this story that will involve, like, full-on shootouts in the streets of Chicago. Not the normal kinds that happen, but, like, with military and stuff. So, yeah, it's gonna be pretty crazy. I hope that this ends up being a nothing burger. This is one of those situations where it's like, man, I hope people are telling me this title was clickbait in a month or something, you know? Because, like, if he goes through with this, then the bar has been lowered to the point where now our new normal is Trump declaring war on American cities that are too left-wing. Like if we get to that point on month, 8 of his presidency, we're not going to make it to year 4, man. We're not going to make it to year 4. If this is where we're actually at month 8. Times are getting rough, folks. Times are getting rough. Anyway, folks, If you enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way whatsoever, then please consider leaving a like and a comment down below to help beat the algorithm and push it out to more people, maybe even beat some of that right-wing content that's flooding the landscape right now. Of course, subscribe and ring the bell icon if you want to turn on all notifications and make sure YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. And of course, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can always follow my social medias, particularly my fan Discord, through the link down below in the description. My Discord's the main hub of my fan base and community. In fact, I host weekly gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, and movie nights there, so if you don't want to miss anything, make sure you hop on in. It's going to be a good time. You won't regret it. And of course, finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on above my head and keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you all so much for watching, as always, and have a good one.